Who is your daddy? I am your father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?
All right, welcome to episode 33 of Fathers of the Grind and episode 1 of our video version of Fathers of the Grind. Woo! I'm here with Derek. Derek, say hello so they can see you in your creepy dark room.
Yes. Hello, Clarice.
All right, so we're trying this Google Hangouts thing just so we can have a little more face-to-face time. Like I said last time, we want to make sure that we can see the disappointment in the eyes when we say something stupid.
Yeah, this kind of, like, I'm excited, but I also think it sucks because I legit zone out, and now it's obvious when I'm zoning out.
Yeah, it is. That's all right. But we want to cover a few things, including what our families are doing, including some big games that are coming out this week. But then we want to have a big discussion about our top 5 first-person shooter games of all time, which we asked our group to chime in on. So we're going to try to cover all of that here in this short time we have. And, so let's just get right into it. Tell me what your family's doing. I know you're sitting in a room right now with someone sleeping in the background maybe, but what's your family up to right now?
No, that's just Emily creeping on her phone. So at least the good thing is it's Emily, and she'll stay quiet while she's on the phone. Say hi, Emily. All right. She wants
All right, good.
To say hi. That's awesome.
Good.
What?
Oh my! I said to say hi. Wow. Okay. She's not gonna say hi. So yeah, I basically this past week we celebrated a couple birthdays. My wife's birthday was on Sunday. My birthday was on Wednesday. So Sunday night we went to Kobe's Japanese Steakhouse.
Nice.
Have
Did
you
they
ever
chop
been
stuff
there?
up right in front of you?
Yes. Hi Emily. This is probably gonna happen a lot. I'm calling it right now. We're gonna get
that was an icy look she threw over her shoulder.
Yeah, we're gonna get an Eli and an Ian interruption at some point. But anyway, so we went to Kobe Japanese Steakhouse. Awesome. I go there once a year. We go for our birthdays since they're so close. We get a coupon, $30 off. So if I order a meal, my wife's meal is basically free.
Mm-hmm.
So we took the whole family there. It was a good time, great food. I actually did this. I left there bloated because I ate all my food. I ate everything. And if you've ever been to one of those type of restaurants, they're like a 7-8 course meal.
Yep.
And I ate everything: the soup, the salad, the vegetables, the rice, the noodles, the meat, everything.
Attaboy.
Okay, so I was feeling very bloated.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, he's got to get a sip of drink. That's awesome. And we get home, and
My coworker said this looks like a shapely water bottle, by the way. They said it's got like an hourglass shape, like a female. And so they tell me it's a sexist water bottle.
Like a woman's gym bottle or something like that. But it fits you. According to Frank Clark, you are a woman.
True.
So I went home and I weighed myself right away just to, out of curiosity. I gained 4 pounds from that one meal.
Wow.
So that's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all we've been up to. Soccer's starting, so academy practice is starting, and my son Ian's still in basketball. But that's it. Just staying busy with sports and hanging out and stuff. You?
Nice. According to the notes that have been prepared for me, I am playing with my secret Barbie collection at work while pretending to be working. That's the number one thing. So thanks
your
for that.
And your water bottle.
Yeah, thanks for that. But actually, what's going on is school started, so our house has kind of gotten into a little bit of a rhythm here over the last few days, which is great. The kids are off on the bus by 7:25. And they're not home until 2:50. Everyone except for our daughter, who's 3. So the house is a lot quieter for those hours of the day. But for me, it's the same. I go to work, so it's the same thing for me. So that's a big deal. I have not played a lot of video games this week, as we'll talk about with What Are You Playing. My time's been limited by a number of things, including school, and the kids are in karate. But I've also been spending more time playing guitar, which has been fun. But you got to pick and choose what hobby you're going to pursue pretty much every night. So I've chosen guitar more a little recently.
Recording?
I've recorded a little bit, but mostly just kind of getting back into the swing of things. It's kind of like riding a bike. You know, you're a little wobbly at first. My fingers are super sore because I haven't played that much in a long time. So, but yeah, so doing that, and then also my wife and I really hope I follow through on this. I guess you guys can help keep me accountable here. We're getting ready to run a 5K in October that my wife signed us up for. It's this Where's Waldo run where we all dress up as Waldo. It sounds really manly and awesome, but we're gonna do this run. And I'm getting ready. I'm doing the Couch to 5K thing. So you run like 3 times a week and you follow the program. So we'll see how that goes. So those have been my evenings. And so by the time I get back, I've been wiped out every night. The earlier mornings with getting kids on the bus and doing the 5K stuff. I'm just really tired. And then all this Barbie activity in my Barbie water bottle just wearing me down. So my list of what I've been playing is pretty short.
Manly podcast.
It is. This is Mothers of the Grind. No, but my list of games that I've been playing is pretty short, actually. It is Trash, Garbage, Trash, of course. I'm playing lots of that. No Man's Sky, I've been playing a little bit, but not a ton. I know we talked about it a lot last week, but I've only been able to put in maybe another hour and a half, 2 hours since then. Not very much. So I'm not very much farther in that game. Same with Axiom Verge, but those are still the games I'm considering as games I'm playing. The last one that I just started, I just texted you about this today. I tried Doom for the first time this week. It was late one night. I knew I had about 30 minutes till I was going to conk out, so I said, I'm going to play Doom just for a little bit, just to get a feel for it. And that game is smooth like butter. I mean, it is glorious playing that game.
It really is.
I'm not a big fan of shooting demons and crazy aliens that blood gushing everywhere. Like, I'm not necessarily someone who's drawn to those games, but games like that have pulled me in. And I definitely think Doom's a game that's going to get some of my time here before too long. So we'll talk about first-person shooters here shortly, but my goodness, that game plays really, really well. That's my first impression. I played for about an hour, and absolutely awesome. I finished the first mission, and man, really cool. So,
yeah, the first hour that I played it, I was blown away. I mean, I even took and this was when it launched, I took PlayStation videos and we're posting them to the Fathers of the Grind group because I was just like, you guys, whoever didn't buy this needs to watch how awesome this is.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got away from it. And then, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, I got back into it. Or last week, actually. I got back into it and beat it on my vacation. But yeah, we'll talk about it more. As far as...
But you've been playing an actual game, and you're pretty far along in this game. So what is that one?
Where did you go? Why are you not here? Jeez Louise. Oh, wow.
You're back.
Welcome back. I just got completely shut out.
It's saying there's 2 Dereks in here now. Hang on, let me kick out the old Derek.
Well, that's creepy. Actually, a twin version of me would be pretty awesome.
There we go. Okay, so what have you been playing?
Okay, so I've really actually only been playing one game, and that is Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted to replay it before Mankind Divided dropped. I'd only played through it once back at launch back in 2011, August 2011. I remember that because I was really excited for it. And I really, really liked it. And I know there's been a couple times where I've gone back, like on the PS3, and I even bought the Director's Cut on Wii U and kind of started it, but never went anywhere. For some reason, I think it's just my hype level for Mankind Divided. I decided to jump back in, thinking maybe I'd play a level or two. No, I'm completely hooked. It's not without its flaws, which I actually will talk about. Well, I'll talk about it now. There's no reason not to. When I originally played Human Revolution, it played great. It was a good game.
Lots of cool stealth stuff you can do in that.
Yeah, which I'm really good at. I'm actually quite terrible, and I am really terrible at this game. In fact, I made a live recording, and I did a live streaming, and then I also recorded it while my son was here, and it was kind of embarrassing. I was like, Derek, this is the worst game you can debut your live streaming, because the whole time I'm like, oh, there's another guy. Oh, I'm dead, type thing. But anyways, Human Revolution, when I played it originally, it was a great game. I probably didn't have many complaints about it. At least I don't remember ever having it. Going back now 5 years later and playing it, and I know 5 years doesn't seem like it's a long time, but games have... The cool thing about games, I guess any type of entertainment, is they evolve slowly. You won't notice it. The changes are very minimal, and they're not very drastic most times.
Yeah.
And so when you go and you play a game in a 5-year gap, you start to go, whoa, oh, this is totally different. So I get to see some of the flaws. Some of it is, and I want to talk about this because I think this is really cool. First of all, have you ever played Deus Ex or any Deus Ex game before?
I played the original one for a little while, but I played it so long after it came out, it seemed like a really dated game to me, so I never did play that, and I kind of wish I had. But then Human Revolution, I played...
Yeah, you're not talking about Human.
No, Human Revolution I played, what was it, probably a couple months ago. Maybe 5-6 hours. Really fun. I like it a lot. I did a couple missions. I love the stealth part of it, but yeah, I think what did I start playing instead? I started playing, Witcher 3 Blood and Wine, I think, pulled me away from it. But anyway, I did like it a lot. It's very, very good.
Yeah. So when I started playing it again, one of the cool things that I really like about this game, and I'm really excited about Mankind Divided, is I love the combination of first person and third person.
Yeah.
Because as you know, and all our listeners know, I'm a big third person shooter fan. I like the action adventure third person games. But I enjoy first person, and one of the reasons why I like third person over first person is because I like cover-based mechanics, which you only see in third person shooter games. This one's a first person shooter game that relies on cover mechanics. It has to have it. Like, if you go run around and try to play this game like Doom, you're going to get demolished. So it's really cool how they combine both of them. And that's one of the flaws that I kind of saw, is they didn't do a very good job with the cover mechanics system. And so I'm kind of used to, when you play a first-person shooter, you hold down the left trigger, you shoot with your right trigger, right, to zoom in and aim. Well, in Human Revolution, left trigger is basically to lean up against a wall.
Yeah.
And so I'll be like, I'm going to aim and shoot you, the guy right in front of me. Instead, I'll hit left trigger and I'll
snap to the wall.
latch onto a wall.
Yep.
And I have no idea where the guy is now.
Yeah.
So that's been fun. Now, some people would be like, well, that's not a flaw in the game. That's just you being used to. It's not, but the overall mechanics are flawed. It's not very smooth. It's kind of a slower paced game, which that's for the stealth. But overall, really enjoying the game, and all it's doing is hyping me more for Mankind Divided.
Yeah, and it's got some really cool upgrades you can do.
Right now.
The Human Revolution upgrades are really fun. I don't know if the story's good. You know better than I do, but the story was somewhat interesting at the beginning, at least, with what happens to you at the beginning.
I enjoyed the story. It's got that mystery hook, which again you played the first, you said, 4 or 5 hours,
I did.
So you got to see that beginning and what happens. And it's not really a spoiler. You're a human, and then your company gets under attack, and you basically die.
Yeah.
And to be brought back to life, they have to augment you. So you have like metal arms, metal back, metal chest. Basically, your entire body's metal.
Yeah.
And so you can upgrade that.
And that's the opening credits, which is really cool the way they do that. Like, after that whole opening kind of prologue happens and you get killed, like Derek just said, and then you wake up, you're on the operating table, and they run the whole opening credits with that. It's really cool the way they do that.
Yeah. So to answer your question, though, it's got that mysterious element of, well, who did the attack? And then when that attack happens, certain people are dead or missing. You don't really know. The game tells you they're dead, or the lead character assumes they're dead. But as you play the game, you kind of find out whether they are or not. And then there's just a bunch of... the way I described it to somebody today on Vodka, Fathers of the Grind, is these games are kind of like a modern, or I should say, a futuristic Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You literally cannot trust anybody.
Yeah.
In
That's
fact,
cool.
I just got to a part of the game, and I won't spoil it, but there's a certain character who tells the lead character, who is an enemy, apparently, whispers in his ears, "Don't trust anybody, they all lie." And so, and this is in Human Revolution. Now, I watched some of the reviews for Mankind Divided, and they're basically saying the same thing. There's so many characters or corporations and all this in the game that are untrustworthy. They all lie, they all have their own agendas, and they're hidden. So that's, to me, what makes the story really good, is the mystery behind it, and then as you unravel it. So overall, would I say, as somebody who's beat Human Revolution and is going to beat it again, does it have a good story? Yes.
Yeah.
Mankind Divided apparently lacks in a story. I'll find out for myself. But it's got that kind of futuristic Game of Thrones vibe, because you really don't know who you can trust.
Yeah, so
Everybody's a liar.
Mankind Divided is coming out this week. It's one of the big releases that's happening this week. So are you going to be, I mean, I know you're excited about it. You've been talking about it for a while. You've got it pre-ordered. Are you going to be staying up real late Monday night, I guess, to play this thing? Or are you going to wait it out till later in the week?
I had a decision to make. I could either stay up real late, and here's the thing, I'm an old man, and my body works in
Happy birthday, by the
hours.
way. You just had a birthday.
Yeah, 37 years old, thank
That's
you.
right. There's your video.
I'm still
Take
mad
this little
at you
clip,
'cause
and this can be your video.
Yeah, exactly. Sasan told me happy birthday, bitch, and you couldn't even do it. But, so, yeah, basically, I'm excited for the game, and I would love to stay up late, but my body it works in systems. Monday nights I go to bed 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So by the time 12 o'clock gets there, I can stay up, I can force myself, but every time I've done I did it with No Man's Sky, and of course I didn't have work the next day, I was on vacation.
Oh, that's right. You had the
But
week
I
off for
played-
that game.
Yeah, I was so hyped for that game. And so I played for about an hour that night, and I was just tired the whole time. I was like,
Yeah.
and No Man's Sky doesn't really help for somebody with my taste, so I was like, but to answer your question, I actually scheduled Tuesday. I'm going to come in to work an hour early, and I'm only going to work 6 hours straight. I'm not going to take a lunch, and I'm going to leave at 1, come straight
Oh,
home,
nice.
and I'm going to dive in that game.
That sounds good. That's going to be a...
No kids,
Oh, man.
no wife,
What time do they go home from school?
3 cats, and I don't care about their opinions or what they have to say.
Unless they're fighting. What
fine.
what time do they get home from school, the kids?
Well, that's fine, and they probably will fight because they're all liars as well. I don't trust them.
Well, nice. Well, that's good.
What's the other release, though?
Oh, boy.
There's
It's
another one, 'cause
Madden.
I know you're not that excited about Mankind Divided. You've actually not talked about it at all, so I don't think.
No, I'm not
care about
necessarily that excited about it, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's going to be good. I'm really glad that you're getting it. That way I can give it a shot.
Yeah.
So, and it's getting great reviews so far. So I really have no excuse not to try it. So it'll get some time, but like I said, I've got some games to wrap up. I got to finish Watch Dogs. I want to get to the point where I feel like I've completed No Man's Sky. I don't know if I'll get all the way to the end of the actual story, but I want to get to the point where I feel like I don't need to play this anymore. Maybe I've unlocked enough and I've upgraded enough that I feel like I get it. I get this game, and I can put it down. And then I also want to finish Axiom Verge. And then, since we don't have Final Fantasy 15 on the horizon, maybe Deus Ex makes sense as the next big one once I knock out some of these. So it's not because I don't think the trailers look cool and the gameplay does look really cool. The story sounds like it's going to be great. Human Revolution is a high-quality game, so I have every expectation that Mankind Divided will also be very high quality. So it's more just it's not a series that's been a favorite of mine. I think that's what it is. So I don't really have hype level for it.
I think if you finish, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to speak for your personality, but I know how I am. It's hard for me to jump into, I don't want to say the middle of a franchise, but even a sequel.
Yeah.
Especially if the stories are linked. Now I know we live in a day and age where we can go YouTube it
Right.
and do a 5-minute video that says, well, this is what Human Revolution's about. And I've had to do that on certain games. Be like, okay, like for instance, the Witcher franchise. I played The Witcher 2, but before I did that, I wanted to know what happened to the original Witcher. And when I booted up the original Witcher, I was like, nope,
No.
This is a little
It's
bit
not
dated.
fun to play. Yeah.
And I didn't at this. Yeah, and at this time, I had a terrible PC. Like it was like
Yeah.
choppy.
Yeah.
So I was like, no.
Yeah.
not
No, The
doing
Witcher
that.
2 actually played,
So,
I think it
I
was
watched the
free at one point on Games with Gold, maybe?
Oh, which one? The Witcher 2? Yeah, yeah.
I think it was. And so when that came out, and I think The Witcher 3 was definitely being talked about. I don't remember if it was about to come out, but that's when I decided to play Witcher 2. I thought, hey, The Witcher 3 is coming out. Everyone's talking about it. Might as well try Witcher 2. And then I got totally hooked. And I did the same thing. I didn't even try Witcher 1, but I did go back in combination of videos and just reading. Just kind of figured out what that story was all about. So, yeah. So
but
coming,
then you played The Witcher 2. So
Yeah,
I'm
I did.
guessing that you would do the same thing. Like, I think you'd be more excited about Mankind Divided if you had beat Human Revolution.
okay, all right.
I haven't, at least for me personally, I haven't seen somebody play or heard somebody play Human Revolution and then not like it. Maybe, I'm sure there's somebody that exists, but I haven't. So everybody who's played it's liked it, and they're the ones that are excited for Mankind Divided because they realize, and that's what I was saying earlier, I know I went on forever, but there's
For real.
room for improvement with HR. John Mage, Black Mage, Martin. There's room for improvement for HR. That game has flaws.
Yeah.
And so they have addressed that in the new one. And that was why a lot of the reviews that are good, that's the major thing that I hear over and over. I checked a lot of the reviews. I didn't watch all the videos and stuff. I didn't want to be spoiled. But
Yeah.
every single one of them were like, oh, they've improved the mechanics, all the upgrades. Most of the upgrades are amazing. So it's like they basically are saying, this game's ridiculously fun to play, and it's really good, but the story is, so I'm really excited for that one. But there's another game
Yeah,
coming out
there is.
that I know you're really pumped about,
Yeah, last year,
and that's Madden.
Yeah, last year, Brian Pelfrey and I both bought this game, and we played one game online together, and it was pretty fun. I think Brian won that game. It was fairly close, and I had every intention of continuing to play it, but as I started the franchise mode, I just played some random games. I did a bunch of the training. I realized very quickly, this is exactly what I remember. I think I had bought it 2 years before, and I remember it feeling exactly the same. The experience was the same. The draft process was the same, and I just thought, I've done this a lot. I put a lot of time into Madden 14, I want to say it was, and 16 didn't feel that much different. So, no, I'm not excited for 17. Again, just like every year, people are saying, hey, this one's a lot different. They've added a lot of good stuff. Well, that's what they said last year, and I bought it. And I was able to return it and almost get full price back on it. And I had already bought it on sale. Yeah, so I took it back to Best Buy and just basically made up a story about how I don't need it on this platform, but they didn't give me full price back for it, but they gave me close to full price. So I think I ended up losing $10. Not too big of a deal. So no, I don't really care about Madden, which is funny because I'm a huge NFL fan. I love fantasy football. I watch every Sunday. If it were an NCAA game, I wouldn't even hesitate. That'd be day one without a doubt. I would stay up till midnight to play that, just because I love college football.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so don't care about Madden. I do
College
care
is-
about Deus Ex, but it's with tempered excitement compared to a lot of you guys. So I don't want to pretend like I'm pumped for it, because I'm not. But I do think it'll be a great game, and I will try it out. Madden? Nah.
Well, I actually am getting Madden. I just don't know if I'm going to open it. The only reason why I did this is I was trading in a bunch of games towards basically now PSVR, and you get 20% bonus trade-in at GameStop if you put it towards Madden. And so I did the math because I had a lot of games. I was going to get like an extra $30. So the way I did it in my head, I was like, well, I can get Madden for $30. And I know my son Eli would play it. But what I'm thinking is just not opening it and just going to a different GameStop and be like, hey, I don't want this game. Let me put it towards this. And I'll pre-order something I want.
GameStop
and that way I got
might not let you do that. But they might. But if you want to get a definite trade-in, I'd go to somewhere like Walmart. That's just massive, and they'll scan it in and done. So
they won't take it back, but I'm not going to open it.
Because I did that with
take
Tomb
it in
Raider,
with my
and
receipt.
the only reason they gave me it back, I think, is because I put it towards another game. Anyway, GameStop might let you do it.
That's what I'm going to
They
do.
might let you do it.
That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to say, I don't want this. It's still going to be in its wrapper. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
and then
open
if you use it in store, yeah,
Um,
they'll probably let you. Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's the plan. I don't want it because it's credit anyways. I didn't pay cash for
Yeah.
it, so I'm not going to be able to get money back anyways. The only thing they're going to be able to give me is
There you
credit.
go.
So I'll just pre-order something else. I may change my mind. Who knows? I'll ask Eli if he wants it. He'll probably say, "Yeah, Dad." So even if I open it up and we play it for a couple hours, I'll be able to get my
Yeah.
30 bucks
Okay.
back because I'll be able to trade it in for 30 or 40.
Yeah, so
But no, I'm not hyped. I
No.
don't even care.
yeah, neither do I. Which is funny. And I know you talked about last week how you're really pathetic as an NFL fan, and that's kind of true, I guess. But I am not. I am super into it. I'm super into watching the headlines and the
Oh, you're not
preseason. I'm not.
pathetic.
I'm
I
not.
don't agree
I'm
with
not
that.
pathetic. Well, a little bit. Watching Hard Knocks, I'm super into it. But then when it comes to the video game, maybe I just am burnt out from what that game has to offer. So I don't know. Maybe it's a
Well,
next gen
it is-
situation. I don't know.
I respect when people that are hardcore into it are like, they make changes. I believe them. I've played enough football games to know they do make changes. Sometimes those changes are, these people like this part of it, let's take it out so we can put it back in a couple of years and be like, hey, look what's back. And some of the changes are like, hey, we need to tweak this because this is not very good.
Right.
So they do make changes, but the experience overall is the exact same.
Now, if this
Like,
had
I've
been
playing
if this had been the year though that they had
Madden's-
decided Madden football is a singular product that will get regular patches and updates and paid DLC, then I might have gotten on board. But since it's yet again another $60 release with minor updates and roster updates, that's fine. I'm just not into it. But I am interested when EA finally gets smart and they introduce each sport as a platform that they then update on a regular basis. Then I'm on board.
Well, and that is smart, but here's the problem. There's a lot of idiots that are still buying it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know if they... I'm sure they've done the math. I don't know if they would agree with us that that's the direction they need to go anytime soon, because they're probably still making a killing off $60 per
They're
game.
probably making a lot, but
Instead
I
of
would...
going, hey... I mean, I don't know. They could probably do like a monthly service or something like that.
Yeah.
$5 a month, we'll update Madden and NBA and all the... I don't
Yeah.
know. They have that EA access. They could do it.
I think they're obviously making a lot of money, but I wonder what their production costs are for each game as opposed to regularly updating everything from rosters to a new feature set with patches and DLC that they can add on. So I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't know the first thing about game development, so I don't know what that cost would be. But I can't imagine that it's cheap to make one of these games, even though you're using a lot. You're reusing a lot of assets.
No, and
it's
then
still expensive.
every generation of consoles, they change. They change the... What is it called? Now my brain's going... The engine. The in-game engine. So they have to change the engine. So when they do that, that costs a lot of
Yeah.
money. That takes a lot
Yeah.
of time. So it kind of makes sense for them to do those yearly releases because that's what funds it. We'll see. I mean, like I said, overall, between those... And I did look to see if there's any other big games coming out. Those are really the two headliners.
If I
Definitely Deus Ex. Is the
If
one
I bought
care
a football
about.
game this fall, then the one that caught my interest the most was those guys that make that Tecmo Bowl game, and they put it out on an actual NES cartridge that works in an NES system, and they update it with current rosters. No NFL license, of course, so all the teams are just the names of the cities and their general colors, but it's old school Tecmo Bowl. So if I bought a football game, that one I'd be more likely to get, but that's also $60, so not happening. But anyway,
Do it.
I digress.
Review. Popular review.
Yeah,
Tecmo
yeah. By the way, every time you say that, I think you're
2007.
saying vodka. So we should totally get our own line of vodka drinks.
We
Vodka,
could.
vodka.
And
Yeah,
we could just drink while we do these podcasts.
yeah. And
Not a bad
people who
idea.
listen need to drink to get through them too. All right, so let's talk about first-person shooters. Of course, we've got Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, which is going to have some of those aspects in it. Of course, we just talked
Yeah.
about Doom a little bit. There have been some big first-person shooters that have already come out this year. and there's still a couple big ones yet to come this fall with Battlefield 1, with Call of Duty. Was it Infinite Warfare? I think it's Infinite Warfare. So,
I think so.
first-person shooters
Not
are
much I care.
still a thing. I mean, this genre has been huge for almost 30 years, dating all the way back to games like the original Wolfenstein, and maybe even before that, games that I can't think of off the top of my head. So, what we did was, Derek made a post in our Facebook group, and he basically said, give me your top 5 first-person shooters of all time. So before we look at some of the results, I know you saw some of these. Were you surprised by the games that they picked? What games did you expect for everyone to say when we said greatest first-person shooters of all time? What did you expect to hear?
I wanted to see some Unreal Tournament, which I did, and I was actually surprised by how many people were into the old school FPSs.
Yeah.
I know there would be some. I mean, when I read off my list, I didn't pull any of the old ones. Even though I played a lot of them, I was still kind of young, so I don't have like a lot of, like some of my memories of playing games on PC were like Duke Nukem, and that was cool because it was bad. Like,
Yeah.
you know, don't let mom see that I'm playing it with a game with a stripper and I'm shooting her.
Yep. It was irreverent
but-
and inappropriate and all the good things that boys liked in video games back then. Yep.
Yeah, and I liked Doom and all that stuff, and I played them, but I didn't play them like hardcore. Like, those weren't the games that I was like... The one I would say I played the most when I was younger was Unreal Tournament. And so while I liked it, it was still mainly multiplayer. Or it
Yeah.
was... The one I played was all multiplayer.
Right.
And that's just not my thing. Like, all the first-person shooters that I picked for my top 5, all are story-driven. Well,
Mhm.
all except one, really. The other 4... 2 of them are heavily story-driven, and then the other 2 got an interesting story as well. But I don't care just to play these games just for gameplay. I like more than that. I need for first-person shooters to be fun and good for me.
Yeah.
There has to be more.
But let's look at what some of our community members submitted as their favorite FPS games. I did notice a certain pattern for certain people. Like, for example, our buddy Thomas, who, by the way, does a lot of great writing, does a lot of good reviews, is very meticulous and detailed. So check out Thomas's writing if you haven't already. He's in our group there. But Thomas says games like BioShock, Deus Ex, Human Revolution, which we just talked about, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Wolfenstein The New Order, and Doom. And I believe he means the newest version of Doom.
I think
So the reason that list jumped out at me is because, I mean, Thomas, he's played lots of video games. He knows the history of games. He's been playing games for years and years and years, and yet all of his top 5 FPS games are very recent. And he would have been a guy I would have pegged as someone who was going to grab an old classic. But he didn't. He picked all newer games. So that kind of surprised me a little bit, but they're good games.
I mean, I'm going to say, and I know not all of his are story-driven, but I think he's more like me. I think he wants a first-person shooter with
Yeah.
more than just great mechanics. I think he wants, like, for instance, for him to put Deus Ex Human Revolution in there, I just basically finished saying that I think it's a fun game. I think it's a great game. But when it comes to, like, FPS mechanics and even cover-based mechanics, third person, it's not that great.
Yeah.
It's
True.
solid. It
Yeah.
does its job, but it's more. It's just not as smooth as your most of your first-person shooters, especially nowadays.
Right, and it also, I mean, it does a lot of different things. We talked about stealth already, the fact you can take cover, almost third-person style, even though it's a first-person game. But it doesn't even do that as well as some third-person stealth games. So it does a good job at a lot of things. It doesn't necessarily do any one thing amazingly, from what I've seen, personally.
Agree.
But that's one of his picks. Let's keep moving on here. We got Jesse, and I know we mention Jesse almost every week. He's a super vodka fan. Jesse, he picks 2 of the games on his list I'm not surprised by at all. Halo Collector's Edition, the old school original Halo, and he even admits that's because nostalgia. He also puts...
You mean Combat Evolved?
Oh, did I say... What did I say? Collector's Edition?
Collector's Edition.
Oh,
He's
jeez.
talking about Combat Evolved.
Combat Evolved. Yeah, I saw CE. I thought Collector's Edition. Yeah, so the original Halo. The original Halo. And then also Halo 4 he would put on in his top 5. He also picked Titanfall, Doom 2, and BioShock. So Jesse's going kind of old school with 2, with the original Halo and with Doom 2, of course, being the oldest of his picks. But then mostly recent with his others. Similar with William Powell's list. He picks out BioShock, Halo 2, Black Ops, Titanfall, Perfect Dark, and then he adds in a sixth one, Bad Company 2, a combination of old school and new school. I like the pick of Perfect Dark there, though. The N64, while it didn't have the selection of games that the PS1 did, and we've talked about this back when we debated the best the best consoles of each generation, the N64 had some really awesome first-person shooter games. Of course, GoldenEye will come up here in a little bit too, but Perfect Dark, you could make a good argument that it is a better version of what GoldenEye did. It took all the good from GoldenEye and turned it into a sharper and more deep experience. So, Alan, he picks out Call of Duty 4. I was waiting for that one. BioShock as well. Halo 3. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. He really liked that one. And GoldenEye as well. Let's talk about Mark Allen for a second. By the way, if you haven't checked out Mini Dewey Gaming on YouTube, you should. Mark's a pretty great guy, and just listening to him talk, it soothes my soul with that accent of his. But Mark picked out some classics and some games I wouldn't necessarily expect from a young'un like Mark. He picked out Doom 2, Quake 3 Arena, Halo 2, Unreal Tournament, and GoldenEye. Pretty much all classics. Pretty much all older games. Now,
yeah, he's
I'll go
one of them, like
Yeah.
Jesse, that I
Yeah.
think he's one that loves first-person shooters. I'm not saying they don't like it for the story, but he likes them for the mechanics,
Right.
the gameplay.
Right.
I think he puts that above story.
Well, and this brings me to some. I just got to admit, I have never spent any time with any Quake or Unreal games, and so I always assumed they were just PC online multiplayer shooters, and so it never interested me because I just assumed they were like competitive multiplayer. Did they ever have campaigns and stories in those games? I have no idea. I never played them.
I think, and I could be wrong, there was like an Unreal Tournament Awakening or something like that had a campaign. I didn't play it. It didn't review very well. Unreal Tournament was great for all its multiplayer. It was fast, action pace. It was what I think really blew up first-person shooters, multiplayer, competitive multiplayer. And of course, I could be wrong. I know Quake 3 Arena was big as well. Halo 2 really blew it up for console first-person shooters online and competitive. But yeah, his list is definitely classic. And like I said, if you read all of them off, they're all, the one thing they have in common is they have amazing first-person shooter mechanics.
Yeah. Yep.
So he's definitely.
All right, so we're down to you and I in our first-person shooter games list. And so before we just go through our list, we could do that.
We're definitely the professionals.
We are the professionals. We could just go through our list, but what I think we should do instead is we should try to agree on a top 5. That way we can veto each other's picks, and we have to agree on a top 5. Can we do it?
Do we ever agree on any game? I mean, you're all excited about No Man's Trash, and I'm excited about a real game, Deus Ex. Seriously.
That's why it's a challenge. We do have some games in common. So go ahead and give us your games, starting with number 5, working up to 1, and then I'll give you mine, and we'll see if we can't agree on a top 5 list. So you give me yours.
I'm going to actually have 6, and here's why. Because when I
boy.
wrote my top 5, I forgot one of them. And so I put one in there that shouldn't have been in there.
Oh.
All right, so number 5, I put Doom, but really Doom shouldn't be there. And I'm talking about the 2016 Doom.
Okay.
The original's great and everything, but again, I'm more new school. The game that should be there is Halo 5. That's the one I meant to write in there, and I forgot. So number 5 is really Halo 5. Number 6 would be Doom. You just want me to read through them all?
What's that?
Do you just want me to read through them all?
No, I'll give you mine. My number 5 would be Halo 3. So I do like the Halo games. I've only played a little bit of 4, and that's thanks to Nate Bacon, who sent me a copy. Super awesome of him to do that. So I do plan on getting the Halo 4. Never did play Halo 5, but I've played the first 3, and I like them all a lot, and I feel like Halo 3 is the best of those 3, both in terms of the campaign as well as the multiplayer was so fun. I spent a lot of time playing Halo 3. So that's number 5 for me.
Number 4 is Borderlands. Spent a lot
The
of
original.
time on Borderlands. Huh. Yeah, I have a funny, well, not a funny story. It's kind of sad. I became unemployed as soon as Borderlands released, and I had already traded in a bunch of games to get the game, and I ended up playing it all the time with 3 of my buddies. Like, we just played it. I probably put as many hours into the original Borderlands as I've put into like a Destiny. Like that would probably
Wow.
be one of my top games because I would just keep replaying it. Like a new friend would get it and I'd be like, oh, let's just start a new character with you. I had like 20 characters.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it. It's a great game. It has an okay story. It's a cool universe. But I mainly liked it for the co-op. And the RPG elements were a huge reason why I loved it.
Well, and it's very colorful. It's got a lot of character. It's very unique compared to a lot of the FPS games that were going on at the time. Very funny. So, okay. Well, for me, number 4 is GoldenEye. And I have a little... I don't have an asterisk by it. And in my head, whenever I talk about GoldenEye, there's a little asterisk beside it. And that is, it's no longer a good game. For me personally, I'll admit, just like Jesse admitted with Halo Combat Evolved, not Collector's Edition, just like Jesse admitted, that's because of nostalgia. It's the same thing for me with GoldenEye. It's all because of nostalgia. I spent a ton of time playing that game. It was one of my favorite N64 games. It does not hold up anymore, though. We talked about this. It doesn't hold up. It's not fun to play. The N64 controller with the 4 C buttons, it just doesn't control smoothly. It's really stiff. It's really slow. It's cumbersome, and it doesn't control well now. That being said, in its time, it was a complete game changer. It was a blast to play. It was one of the go-to multiplayer games. I even liked the campaign. I liked the story of that James Bond movie and that game. I thought it was fun. So yeah, I love the nostalgia, the memories that I have of playing GoldenEye. I won't ever play it again, but it was one of my favorites of all time. What's your number 3?
Number 3, BioShock.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I mean, this one appeared on almost all, like most of the people that filled out the top 5 put BioShock.
Yeah, it got the most votes. I actually
big
tallied
reason
up those
is
votes. It got the most picks of any spot.
I was gonna say it probably was. I would say for me, there's 2 big reasons why I loved BioShock, and I'm really excited about the collection coming out in September because I plan on, like I did with Uncharted, BioShock 2, BioShock Infinite. Like, I'm just going to back to back to back. But the 2 big reasons why I love this game so much is story with a twist, a huge twist, which I loved. Yeah. And for gameplay, it was the atmosphere combined with the special abilities that you had in your hand while using a gun as well. They were really unique. I can't think of many games that did it back then when this released. And I watched a few videos about, like, the history of, like, BioShock and stuff like that. And one of the things a lot of games media was saying is one of the big reasons why BioShock was so big is it was the first game to come out on a 360 and a PS3 that looked
It did. It's a beautiful game. Still looks great.
All the other games kind of looked good. Yeah. This was like the first one where people were like, this is gorgeous. And I kind of remember that.
Now, did you ever play System Shock?
BioShock,
I never played System Shock. Did you play that one?
No, I never played it. I will play it on the PS4. I love how they're like releasing it in like 2018 or something like that. And I'm like, is the PS4 even going to be relevant in 2018?
Yeah, I never played that, but the ability to do some powers with your hands, I had seen it in previous games, but not usually in conjunction with the guns. That was really unique. I mean, there were games like Hexen that came out back in the day that you had magical powers and you could see your hands as you shot, magical abilities. But this was really cool, the way that they introduced this. I do remember that first moment when I came around the corner very, very early in the game, and you see the shadow of one of the, I'm forgetting what the enemies are called, like the foot soldier enemies. Anyway, one of those creepy, disturbed people leaning over a crib, like a carriage. And that shadow cast against the wall was so terrifying. So the atmosphere of that game, you're right, it was really pretty. Like after that opening plane crash, spoilers, you crash in a plane at the beginning, and you're swimming through the water. I remember thinking, look at the water. This looks amazing. So that game was beautiful. Yep. And I think that one deserves a spot on most top 5 lists. I'm going to throw in Borderlands 2. Borderlands 2. I did like Borderlands 1, but I had a lot more fun with Borderlands 2. Spent a lot more time with it. I had a much more smooth co-op experience there. I played a lot with my cousin Nathan, and yeah, we had a blast with that game. I played it on the PC for a long time. I have it now on console, of course, and I played it a little bit, but I spent the most time with it on the PC. Love Borderlands 2. Hilarious game. So much fun to play. the looting, the loop of looting and upgrading is so satisfying, and I love that game. It's a great one, and that kind of leads into your number 2 game.
Borderlands 2.
Yeah. See, we can agree.
So,
Come on. See, look at that, coming together.
Well, you were a fool and put it at 3.
I guess.
Mine's at 2.
All right, so that's your number 2 game. Do you want to say anything else about Borderlands 2?
I would say the same thing that I said about Borderlands. I just feel like it's done better in Borderlands 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is weird because I really love Borderlands. But
You had a job during Borderlands 2, though, right?
Yep.
All right, good. All right, my number 2 game is Doom, and I mean the old classic game Doom. I kind of would put this hand in hand with the old classic Wolfenstein. These are the 2 games that I played around the same time. They introduced me to first-person shooters. This idea of having the perspective of the person holding a gun and shooting the enemy was just crazy and world-changing for me when it came to games. So I loved them both, but I like Doom a lot more. I put a lot of time into Doom on the Super Nintendo, and so to me that's one of my favorites. We would play it late at night with all the lights turned off, and it would scare the crap out of us. We loved that game, my brother and I. So, all right, give me your number 1s. I'm about to get a lot of volume coming in here pretty soon, so let's get to our number 1s here.
All right, BioShock Infinite.
Yes.
Same reason as BioShock. I just like the story and the twist in Infinite more. I actually like the atmosphere better in the original BioShock because it's creepy and real dark and really beautiful. And Infinite's kind of the opposite. It's really bright.
It's very bright, yeah.
Colorful.
Sky and clouds, yeah.
It comes across as like a happy place, but really as you dive deeper in, you realize it's kind of a disgusting place. So, really love that game. Super, I can't say it anymore. I'm super excited to play the collection.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Which, by the way, I'm pre-ordering that one, so you can play the collection when I get.
I appreciate that. I didn't demand you to do that or anything.
You didn't. No, you didn't. And you didn't do that at all.
Do it now.
All right, my number 1 FPS game, which I think changed the course of gaming in a lot of ways for a lot of different genres, and that is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I think it was one of the most impactful games in the last 10, 15 years even. I think it changed the way that people do online multiplayer for any genre, especially for first-person shooters. It added this almost role-playing game type effect to upgrading and customizing, unlocking. It had an incredibly addictive hook. And I spent more time with that game than any other Call of Duty, at least. I spent a lot of time online with that, prestiged a whole bunch of times. And I thought it just played beautifully. The campaign was actually really compelling and really good with a great finale. It was a lot of fun, lots of big set pieces and well acted, well scripted out. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, in my opinion, the greatest first-person shooter ever made. So, but now that we're going through BioShocks and we were kind of reminiscing about BioShock, I feel like that would probably be in my list right behind Borderlands 2. So that'd be at number 4. GoldenEye would move to number 5, and Halo 3 would slide down to my honorable mention at number 6 there. So, because I forgot how much I love BioShock.
And that's the thing.
So.
These lists are so difficult because while I'm doing them, like, oh, I forgot Halo 5, and I love Halo 4, and I do have a lot of love for the collector's edition of the original Halo. But
Shut up.
Combat Evolved. But, yeah, so there's a ton of great games, but I would say the 5 that I picked are the ones that meant the most to me, that I really...
All right, so if we were to try to combine our lists, instead of trying to make it like a ranked list, which of mine would you veto off of a top 5?
So you are putting
You
BioShock in there?
Yeah, I'll put BioShock at number 4, and Halo's now in my number 6 game. So we'll take turns vetoing until we have 5 left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. I can't see your list on my stinking notes, but
All right, so I'll remind you what they are. We got COD4, we got Doom, the old original Doom, Borderlands 2, GoldenEye, BioShock.
GoldenEye's got to go first. I don't care about that one.
Which one?
GoldenEye got to go.
All right, so GoldenEye's out. All right, then I am going to get rid of the first Borderlands game.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and then for me,
Yep.
get rid of the original Doom.
Oh, Jesse and I both shed a tear. There it is, right there. All right, then I would get rid of... I guess I'll get rid of BioShock, and I'll leave BioShock Infinite if I had to pick between the two of those.
Alright,
So now we're
you
left
got-
with. We got Halo
Well, you
4.
could
We've
keep-
got. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, if you get rid of BioShock, you still have BioShock on your list. So as long as I don't get rid of it, it'll still be there.
That's true. That's true. See? This is the last
yeah,
one. Last one
being
to
smart.
veto here.
Oh, you gotta get rid of Call of Duty. It's crap.
Oh my gosh.
Which I was gonna
We
ask.
don't agree.
you,
You're right.
The new
We don't agree,
high
right.
def is a part of the new Call of Duty, right? Like they're bringing it back,
Yeah.
I guess.
Right.
Does that interest you at all to like get that again and play it? I understand you probably don't want to pay the $80, but what if they say 3 months from now and you know they're gonna do this? Hey, you can just buy the game by itself for $30 or $20.
Yes.
Would you do
Then
it?
yes. Yes. Then yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I love those multiplayer maps. I'd love to replay that story with the graphics updated. Love it. Yeah. All right.
so
Well,
I
that
got rid of
that does it
What
for
do we
our
have
list.
left? What do we have
All right.
left?
So that leaves us with Borderlands 2. Halo 3's gone. So Borderlands 2, BioShock, Infinite,
Okay. BioShock Infinite.
and then regular
Halo
BioShock.
5, you didn't get rid of Halo 5.
Halo 5 is still on there. Wait, what am I missing? I'm missing a fifth one.
BioShock Infinite, Borderlands 2, Halo
Yeah.
5.
And I guess Halo 3 would stay on there since you got rid of my number 5.
Alright.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got 2 Halos on there? What's
Terrible
wrong with us?
list.
We make horrible lists. All right. Forget that. Stick to my list, you guys. My list is the best. Oh, by the way, Derek made my list for me before we even recorded the show. He just wanted to help me out. He knew I was having a busy week. Would I have time to really think through and evaluate these games? And so the list you came up with for me was really, really close. It was number 5, The Last of Us. Number 4, Ori. Number 3, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Number 2, Uncharted 4. And number 1, of course, the GOTC. Game dev story.
Can you
So
hear this?
thank you. Thank you for
Focus
that.
on that. That's Tim picking first-person shooters.
I haven't.
I have no idea what I'm doing.
All right, well, we're going to wrap it up, but I wanted to share with you guys something that I bought. It was actually off of a link that Derek shared in the group. No, he knew that I would love this. So this just came in the mail the other day, and check this thing. It's going to be hard to see with the lighting. I got bad lighting in here, but check this out. Can you see that? Can you see it?
It's not real clear on my end, but I know what it is because I told you to get it.
If you can't see it, then it's a Chrono Trigger mug. I got the black one, so in person it looks pretty good. The E and the R at the end kind of fade into the black, which is a bummer. But you can see all the characters. It looks really great. It's on my desk and at work, but I brought it home so I can show you guys. I need to start building up a better swag collection for gaming stuff. I don't have enough stuff. I've got a few of the Disney Infinity toys, and I've got a Rocket League shirt, and I've got a Chrono Trigger mug. So I need more. So anyway, that's the beginning of my
I'm
swag
kinda
collection.
like you. I don't have much. Like I don't have any gaming shirts.
Yeah.
I definitely don't have any mugs. And the only things I have is from like collector's editions. Like I got the Nathan Drake statue. I got Scorpion from Mortal Kombat X, but nothing
Nice.
much. Oh, and I've got
Nice.
Geralt from The Witcher 3, which is pretty
Oh,
sweet.
so all right. So you have a lot more than I do then. Yeah, that's
But
pretty
it's
much
just
all I've
recent
got.
stuff. I never bought collector's editions when they first started. I was like, nope, that's too much money.
Yeah, and by the time I started thinking about collecting some of that stuff, that's when I started having kids, and I just knew anything that's valuable that could be broken, why would I ever put that in my house? It's a bad idea. Someone's gonna break it. Anyway, all right. Well, we're gonna sign off. And Derek, I wanted to tell you when you were sharing about Deus Ex early in our show tonight, your
fell
daughter was
asleep.
behind you doing all sorts of amazing stuff. Well, yeah, I fell asleep,
She
but your
doing
daughter was
well.
behind you dancing and lip syncing and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And so I know our audience enjoyed that. I just wanted you to know you have something to look forward to when you rewatch this at some point.
I literally didn't see it. I'm so focused on. And by the way, for people that are gonna watch this is our first time, so it's been kind of distracting because I'm looking down at my phone for the notes. Then I'm trying to make sure I'm not way off the camera because I like to lean forward. And
Yeah.
then sometimes Tim's talking and my audio's going out, like it's buffering. So I'm like, I have no idea what he's saying. I bet he's asking a question right now, and I'm like this.
Yeah. Hopefully people will be forgiving of us and
Yeah,
they'll
it's our
get through
first
it.
time. I thought it went okay, but like I said, there was quite a few times where I was like, Tim's talking, but I'm not hearing anything. He's
That's not that
like,
different from when we
he's
just
not
do
moving.
audio, though. That's pretty much the same as the other recordings. You're like, Tim's talking, but nothing's coming in. Yeah. Yeah. All right, we're gonna cut it right here, and we will talk to you guys later. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll talk to you soon.
Go buy Deus Ex. You missed. Buy Deus Ex. Well, you don't have to, but you need to play it. Like, you're gonna make me mad. I at least gave No Man Trash a chance.
Who is your daddy? I am the father.
You fathers will understand.
My father taught me many things.
I got an idea. How about you all sit there quietly while I make dad noises?